Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you, this time talking episode 12 of season 3 of Riverdale, Bizzarodale. And this, I think, was actually a pretty solid episode of the series. And as a lot of people know, it kind of puts a lot of the spotlight on some of the side characters more. Particularly Cheryl and Kevin, who have definitely been on the sidelines a fair bit this season, particularly Kevin, and really puts them front and center. And given that they're the characters that they're mostly using to explore, like, um, LBGQ, I can't ever say that right. Well, you get what I'm saying. Themes here on the show. This has kind of rubbed some people the wrong way, but at the end of the day, Kevin and Cheryl are supporting characters. They're not the core. Like they're not the they're not um, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, Archie, and yeah, really, it's basically those are our big ones. Yeah, like I mean, even Reggie got demoted down to sort of more or less supporting character here. Anyway, let's just kind of go through it here. So the whole thing with Kevin and Moose and all of that. I kind of do like that this is sort of like they really are resolving this. Um, Now, I'm kind of curious, was Moose coming out of the closet? Well, no, it was explicitly said, I take that back, that Moose was bi. Because he'd been involved with Midge before she got killed by Betty's dad. Um, so I do kind of like that they're doing that. And people who are of the persuasion are quite happy with Riverdale, at least in that regard, as from what I can tell. Um, and I do like that Kevin did say, like, hey, you know what, Moose? I've been patient long enough. This kind of needs to either go to the next level or I need to move on. And that kind of I don't think that's an unreasonable thing for someone to kind of say. Life is short. Um, and even though after everything really crazy happened, I like how at the end of it, Moose is out there, accepting of who he is and not being ashamed of it anymore, which is good. Of course, that's good. Jeez, I'm doing so well tonight. Um, the whole thing with his dad turning out to have Moose's dad having turned out to have been in love with Kevin's dad back when they were young and doing the whole gargoyle thing and reuniting the Midnight Society, the Midnight Club. Just basically because he couldn't stand the idea of his son having what he never could. That was sort of like, wow, that's really awful, but I can totally see that. And I was kind of glad that they didn't take it as him coming from some place where he was super upset about, intolerant of Moose's sexuality, which would have just been super cliche thing to do with a military kind of guy. Instead, they turn it around, and it's he was the one who had to spend got sent to the re-education camp and hid this part of himself for years and years, and then when it looks like his son was going to get what he really could never have. Okay, that was interesting. That was a twist. I didn't see that coming. Um, It was a little weird hearing Cheryl flat out refer to herself as a lesbian, getting that she had this like creepy incest thing going on with her brother back in season 1 and seemed to display an interest in Archie, but Cheryl's emotionally a very weird person to kind of so um, I really think that she's somebody who okay, let me put it this way. Exactly where Cheryl falls in terms of like sexual orientation, well, I think that's a lot harder to pin down, frankly, than just what Cheryl says. Again, I think Cheryl is somebody who really just kind of latches on to anybody who seems like what they might be able to give her, if they might be able to give her what she needs emotionally, and that gender is not particularly important in that regard, which I guess would make her, what, pansexual or something like that? I can't really keep all of that terminology straight. But Anyway, well, Cheryl can, you know, identify herself however she wishes. You know, okay, whatever. That's just my interpretation of her character. But it is kind of weird. It's like, okay, I hate my family and all these creepy, weird traditions that we have, but oh, I want to go to the same college because it's a family tradition, and the women of my family have done that for generations. So you hate a lot of the stuff of your family, but you really want to honor this particular family tradition. That's weird. On the other hand, people are very contradictory by nature. And if you think about it like that, then it does make sense. I mean, okay, Cheryl hates all the stuff that her family does, but there's one or two things that they have as traditions that genuinely mean something to her and that she does want to honor. That even though she did come from this screwed up family, there are at least some good aspects of it, or at least some of the aspects to her that she views positively. Again, why she would want to go to the college as her mom, whom she absolutely hates, I don't get. But then if you sort of take it as, okay, this is a tradition in the women of the Blossom family, well, that would also include her grandmother, who, let's not forget, Cheryl absolutely adores. She loves Nana Rose. Nana Rose is like the one of the few people out there who really does genuinely care about Cheryl. And as we've seen, is actually, despite initially when we meet her seeming like super creepy, has actually been revealed to be a pretty nice person. She was willing to take in those kids from the sisters, and she said that she'd saved other people from the sisters before. So it looks like Nana Rose was a better person than we may have initially given her credit for. Now, if Cheryl had said something like, okay, my mom went here, and I'm not particularly happy about that fact, but I want to go here the same way my grandmother did because, you know, she's someone that I really admire, and I choose to emulate her, not my mother, even though they went to the same place. Okay, that would have worked better from a storytelling perspective. But okay, whatever. The thing that gets me here is that one, okay, so Penelope is screwing with Cheryl, being able to go to the college she wants, just for screwing, just to screw with Cheryl. She is doing this just to screw with someone who set her on fire. What is Penelope thinking? I mean, really, why does she keep screwing with Cheryl when Cheryl has demonstrated, yeah, I've changed, you don't scare me, and I know how to push back if you push me. I learned how to do this from you. I mean, this just, oh, it's really, it's like, why is Penelope so intent on poking the bear? And again, it blows up in her face very, very quickly. You know, she does I mean, Cheryl and Tony do get caught, and Penelope does sort of like, oh, well, you know, everything doing here is perfectly legal. Well, yes, but perfectly legal or not, there's quite a lot of people who might go to a sex club who would not want the fact that they have been going to a sex club and enjoying its perfectly legal offerings, but they probably would not want that broadcast to other people. They wouldn't want that's like kind of what they did with their weekend, going around on social media and getting sent to their boss and their coworkers. So, yeah, Penelope's not breaking the law, but still, her clients are probably not going to want the fact that they're going to a place like that spread around. So her saying that to Cheryl again falls really, really flat. So let's kind of just move on here. The whole money thing with Veronica and Reggie, that was kind of lame. Like, you know, Hermione, the fact that your daughter is in deep in trouble with some gangsters, I kind of feel like you should be a little bit more concerned with that. I mean, other than just saying, okay, Veronica, you made this mess, clean it up. I mean, I guess maybe that's tough love, but you know, tough love that could end in a shallow grave in the woods seems unproductive. And then it turns out that this person is Jughead's mom, who I guess is more of a criminal kingpin than we had initially believed. Like initially, when we last saw her, we just thought like she was somebody who maybe made a little extra cash having her the kids that she worked for boost stuff out of cars. I mean, that's not exactly petty theft, but not much from it. Here, she's like this apparently drug kingpin. And then her coming back to Riverdale is kind of a weird twist, but it certainly is interesting. And I did like that bit at the end where she says like, "Okay, you know, your says to Jellybean like, you've got your dad wrapped around your little finger. He's the sheriff. You know, we're in a position to really run to, you know, kind of make ourselves king of the hill around here." Well, geez, that's interesting. You know, Gladys has had like, you know, 2 years to kind of poison her daughter's mind against her dad, and um, kind of weird that she would just. Yeah, it's so hard to get a read on Jughead's mom, but we do have to take this seriously because she almost certainly killed Penny Peabody. I mean, not that Penny didn't deserve it, but still, you know, this is obviously a dangerous person. And I have said it before that, you know, the last 2 seasons, the big bads turned out to be dads, Clifford and Hal. Having a mom turn out to be the major bad of the season would be pretty interesting. We still don't know who the hell the Gargoyle King is, and assuming that she's from Riverdale, which she probably is, and I'm pretty sure that's been stated that she is, well, no reason to think that Gladys wasn't back at Riverdale High when all that stuff with the Midnight Club originally went down. And, man, Hiram sure did get back on his feet pretty quick for a guy who was shot. Anyway, one other criticism here, and this is a lot pointed, other people pointed out, it's like, wait, the parents all called their kids while every single one of them was boning. They were all literally boning at the same time. It's just like, oh my gosh. Well, no, that's not quite correct. Archie and Josie were the exceptions, but they were kind of moving into kissing territory. Okay, I kind of like that. Like Valerie as a character is kind of, I assume, been pushed off the show. I mean, I guess the Riverdale people are like, we barely use these characters. Why don't we just toss the other two members of the Pussycats? We don't use them enough to kind of keep paying the actresses. And you know, I don't really have that big of a problem with it. I mean, the comics, it was Valerie that Archie started a relationship with. Here, they're just sort of shifting it to being Josie, which, okay, that's fine. Josie's always been the more prominent, the only one of the Pussycats who's ever, well, had like really serious screen time. Valerie never really went too far as a character back in season 1, so okay, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to call it here, guys. A little abrupt, I know, but I'm good. So until next time, take care and have a good one.